I wanted to give my interpretation of each of the Five Nights at Freddy's HelpTrap Endings, because I'm pretty sure I have some unique interpretations of it. Now, I'm not saying these interpretations are correct, it's just that I kind of wanted to share what my vibes were on them, and see if anyone agreed, or hey, maybe some of you at least find it interesting. So let's start with the first one, the HelpTrap ending, the ending you get just by playing the game normally. I want to talk about some of the implications this ending has, and had when I first played it. Mainly, the first thing is that it heavily implies that you play as Cassie's father. There's a couple of little things that implied it beforehand, but it's this ending that really nailed it down, I feel like. Because it starts off with you collecting the Fuzz Force figurines. That's how you get the ending, it's what you're supposed to do over the course of the game, it's the goal of the game, it's how you get the main ending. And this really connects to Ruin's characterization of Cassie's father, where it tells us that he's a collector, he's the type of person who collects these Fazbear Entertainment things. So it really ties into that being the main goal of HelpTrap being to get a trick a collector into collecting his Fuzz Force figurines and essentially putting HelpTrap back together, because that's basically what happens in the HelpTrap ending. You end up having HelpTrap manifesting, and it really feels like a parallel to the original Help Wanted, where you collect the tapes and then HelpTrap is put back together after you put all the tapes together. Except here, instead of tapes, it's these Fuzz Force figurines. This is kind of my general interpretation of that. It's a little bit different, because HelpTrap kind of merges with you with Help Wanted, and I don't really think that happens in Help Wanted 2, but still the same sort of deal as HelpTrap is kind of put back together in a way when you collect all these, and it's really interesting that he takes the form of these figurines to trick the collector into collecting them. I just think that's really cool detail. But at the ending itself, though, you collect all these Fuzz Force figurines, and then you get a really cool shot of the real world. Except it's not the real world, so this is a very good implication here, because it's something that's really hammered down a lot. It's really shown in Ruin, it's shown here in Help Wanted 2, and it was shown back in Tales from the Pizzaplex. But the VR world, once you go into VR, you don't really leave. Not in Five Nights at Freddy's. Because you have HelpTrap appear, but obviously HelpTrap is not a real character. Not at this point in the timeline anyway. Maybe early in the timeline, but not at this point in the timeline. There is no HelpTrap here, and the charging pod certainly didn't just spawn in on its own. It's very much showing that despite this being the real world, it's still the virtual world. And I think that's like a big takeaway of this ending. And another part of that takeaway of this ending is that he spawns in this charging pod. Is that what they're called? Charging pods? Charging stations? I don't know, you know what I'm talking about. And he does like he kind of grabs it in a way very similar to Burn Trap. It's definitely a Burn Trap ending parallel, and it really implies to me that HelpTrap is Burn Trap. To me, that was already heavily implied across Security Breach, but it's nice to get that really nailed down, you know? After that, you get surrounded by Nightmarion staff bots and attacked. Presumably killed by them, although in my opinion I think you were actually dead before then as well. I'll get into what I think that scene actually is later, but the point is you're still attacked by these Nightmarion staff bots, you're attacked by HelpTrap, controlling these things, and then suddenly you are now forced to watch as Cassie is doomed to follow the same fate as you. When I saw Cassie for the first time, I thought, well, that means we don't play as Cassie, because I wasn't sure who we were playing as when I was first playing Help Wanted 2, and seeing Cassie cemented, okay, we don't play as Cassie. To me, that immediately pointed again, another thing that really points us in the direction of Cassie's dad, because why would it be showing us the start of Ruin if it wasn't? Because we know the start of Ruin happens, we played Ruin, obviously we know that happens. And having some random guy be a mask bot really adds nothing to the story, unless this character is someone impactful and related to Cassie, like Cassie's father. This ending only really makes sense to be here if we're playing as Cassie's father. It's a very impactful ending once you think that through too. I think there's a lot of things pointing to it being Cassie's father. There's other things even outside of this ending, but I feel like this ending really hammers it home. And the idea that we give Cassie our Vanny mask, and we are powerless to stop as Cassie puts it on. Like, we are not giving her the Vanny mask. It's HelpTrap, and HelpTrap is just making us watch. That is what is happening in that scene. And it really is really good characterization of HelpTrap, because that's kind of messed up. But anyway, we see Cassie put on the VR mask, and that means just like us, she's never going to escape the VR world, even as we see that in Ruin as well. Even the real world and the real world in Ruin is clearly not the real world, because stuff's glitchy, and we're still teleporting, and we're having platforms that don't actually exist. very clearly, Ruin's real world is not the real world. So obviously, what this ending is telling us is we are putting Cassie the same fate as Cassie's father. And I really enjoyed this ending. And it had a lot of, as I said, I've covered a lot of lore implications of this ending too. It was very meaningful ending in both impact and lore, and it was really good. Now on to the next ending, the Vanny Ending. This ending requires a few extra steps to get. First off, you need to collect these memory plushies. So Mystic Hippo over the course of the game will tell you a hint on how to get a memory plushie. And once you do this challenge that Mystic Hippo prompts you to do, and then HelpTrap hands you one of his memories. And these memories are obviously related to William Afton because HelpTrap is kind of like a digital version of William Afton. I personally think it's a Mimic 1 recreation, and this update, the recent Help102 update, really solidified that for me. I'm very confident that HelpTrap is a Mimic 1 program, just mimicking William Afton. But that still makes him a digital recreation of William. And he still knows about William and knows about the MCI because he literally recreates it in the original Help Wanted, right? You have that pizza party minigame where HelpTrap literally recreates Help Wanted. Sorry, recreates the missing children incident. So obviously HelpTrap is aware of it, and I think that these memory plushies are just... I don't think they're very significant outside of just, this is stuff HelpTrap knows, it's just a connection to that. It's just a thing that he hands us to collect that gives us a secret ending. I don't know why HelpTrap gives us his memories, but I mean, I'm not going to question it. He's just something he does. And when we do collect all the memory plushies, we get given a glitchy purple coin which allows us to play Princess Quest 4, which is very important because to play Princess Quest 4, that means we would have played the previous Princess Quest games. Because in Security Breach you need to play them in order, which means if we are a technician playing Princess Quest 4, Cassie's father, that means that we must be someone who played the previous Princess Quest games. And if you look back in Security Breach, there's actually messages left by a technician who played Princess Quest. In fact, he was actually quite mentally insane over it. He kind of has this obsession with wanting to save the princess and prove himself to the princess. And with that context of, oh, we can now play Princess Quest 4, implies that that is Cassie's father, that is our player character. Which gives our player a motivation. It explains why we're here. Because if you remember in Help102's teaser, it says that we are the only applicant.
We are excited to inform you that you did an adequate enough job the first time around to have you back. Also, there were no other applicants.
No one wants to work at the Pizzaplex this period of time, yet we do. We were previously fired and we are coming back. And so that connects very heavily to that message in Security Breach where that technician was fired and was begging to stay to try and save the princess. That is our goal. We are trying to save the princess. We are trying to play Princess Quest 4. That is our player's objective. It gives us a motivation, which is very, very important. It's a very big deal of this ending, a very huge lore implication. Very good reveal. But then it gets even more huge after you actually play Princess Quest 4 and realize it doesn't take place here. It seems like we didn't play Princess Quest 4 right after collecting the memory plushies because there seems to be a time skip. Because when we play Princess Quest 4, we are no longer in that supply room, we're no longer in the hub. We're in an empty room, locked by HelpTrap. We know this because when we play Princess Quest 4, we see a locked area by HelpTrap. It's got a glitchy green thing, I think you need a glitchy purple or green key to unlock it. In my opinion, heavily implying it's HelpTrap, and it's the princess who enters our room and gives us her sword and lets us continue on. We are locked in the room, and the princess gets in and then just helps us to get to the rest of the ending. This to me implies that this part of the ending takes place after HelpTrap has already got to us and locked us inside a room. Because he actually did this in the original Help Wanted as well, if you don't remember. One of the endings of Help Wanted 1, the merge ending I believe, left HelpTrap locking us behind a door. And we didn't even see that in one of the Princess Quest endings, I believe Princess Quest 3. And this is just HelpTrap doing what he always did. What he did in Help Wanted 1, he's doing it again. He got a victim and has locked him inside this room. To me, that implies HelpTrap already got to us, which to me implies we already put HelpTrap back together, and I think that this is proving that the Vanny ending is after the HelpTrap ending, and because the HelpTrap ending leads into Ruin, this to me implies that the Vanny ending is after Ruin as well. I think we collect the memory plushies while we're playing the game before the HelpTrap ending, but I think ultimately Cassie's father collects all the Phase Force figurines before playing Princess Quest 4, or before being able to play Princess Quest 4, which causes HelpTrap to be put back together, causes the events of Ruin to get kickstarted, and then he locks us into a room, and then the princess comes to save us. well, kind of save us, because what ends up happening is instead the princess lets us into Princess Quest, and then we play Princess Quest ourselves. Princess Quest is really, really weird. I'm sorry if that sounds very incomprehensible. Princess Quest stuff always does. It's a very weird section of Five Nights at Freddy's. So I'm sorry if I've lost you there. But then we go through the Princess Quest and do the Princess Quest thing. And then the next interesting part is that we get another lore reveal, where we find a Bonnie mask that is familiar to us, which to me heavily implies that we are the Bonnie mask bully from Five Nights at Freddy's 4. I think a lot of people agree with that too, that we play as the Bonnie mask bully, and there's a lot of reasons why. It's not just the masks, there's also the fact that Cassie and the Bonnie mask bully have the same visual parallels, but still, it's another great lore reveal to this already very lore impactful ending. And then we find Old Man Consequences, and we trade our Vanny mask for HelpTrap. We then take HelpTrap to Vanny. Specifically, Vanny sends the daycare attendant in Moon Persona to collect HelpTrap from us, and then Vanny destroys HelpTrap herself. Remember that after Princess Quest 3, Vanny was freed from HelpTrap. This is why Vanny is able to destroy HelpTrap here. And if you're wondering why Old Man Consequences has HelpTrap in the first place, it's because again in Princess Quest 3, the princess had HelpTrap. So I think it's just a case of the princess was with Old Man Consequences, so she just gave him the plushie at some point after that minigame took place. And the interesting part of this minigame, of this ending, is that we traded our Vanny mask for it. I think that us trading the Vanny mask, in combination with how menacing the sound effects of this ending are, is supposed to say that we're doomed. I think we can no longer have an impact on the real world because we gave up our Vanny mask, and we are trapped in whatever situation we get left in after that sequence, which is stuck in this weird prize machine thing. I think this is where Cassie's dad is left to stay and where his story ends. He gave up the Vanny mask, he can't do anything else now, he's just stuck there. And that is why there's a lot of menacing sound design despite such a good thing happening, because it was always weird to me why the ending felt so ominous, despite the ending really being a good thing, right? Like, Vanny destroys HelpTrap, that's a good thing. Why is all the sound effects so ominous? And I think it's because despite how good it is, it's also kind of bittersweet, because Cassie's dad had to give up the Vanny mask to take HelpTrap from Old Man Consequences. So he's kind of traded his life in exchange for taking out HelpTrap. At least I think that's what's going on in the Vanny ending. And I do think that this happens after the events of Ruin, because I do believe that the HelpTrap ending, because throughout Help 1 and 2, Helpy is HelpTrap, because Helpy constantly urges you to collect the Fuzz Force figurines, so I think it's just a good implication that Helpy is HelpTrap in Help 1 and 2, and therefore, when we give the mask to Cassie and Cassie sees Helpy, who seems to want to help the Mimic, I strongly believe that Helpy is HelpTrap as well. But of course, at some point, that then means we have the Vanny ending, which I believe takes place after Ruin, because it has to be after the HelpTrap ending, and the HelpTrap ending leads directly into Ruin. So I think the sequence of events is the HelpTrap ending, then which leads into Ruin, and then at some point, we then destroy HelpTrap, which to me means that we won't see Cassie Vanny in a future game, or if we do, it'll be between the events of the Vanny ending and Ruin. Maybe there's a bigger time skip than I thought. This also kind of explains why Vanny is there, right? Because Vanny, I think, is Vanessa I think it's just Vanessa. I think it's Vanessa's VR avatar. And I think it makes sense why she would be somewhere where she can access Cassie's father and get to him, because maybe at the end of Ruin, when Gregory found out that Cassie was down there, maybe Gregory and Vanessa went back to try and save her. I think that creates a very satisfying implied story there, to explain why Vanessa is there. Or maybe I'm overthinking. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure that's the sequence of events between those two endings. And I think that that's the part where a lot of people differ with their interpretations, because I don't think most people didn't believe the Vanny ending was even canon. But I definitely don't think that most people... My interpretation of the Vanny ending being a time skip after the HelpTrap ending, and being even after Ruin, I don't think many people have said that. And I do think that that is what's going on, because it just makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, again, the HelpTrap ending leads into Ruin, and then that means HelpTrap is definitely there in Ruin because he's Helpy, and obviously we destroy HelpTrap in the Vanny ending, so it just makes sense to me that that Vanny ending would have to be after Ruin then. The alternative is that the Vanny ending might not be destroying HelpTrap entirely, but maybe just the Afton data of HelpTrap, and then that means that HelpTrap can still remain being Helpy at any time, and can still be... the Mimic 1 program would still be there, it's just HelpTrap isn't. It's just the Afton stuff is gone. That's another interpretation. I think that's the more common interpretation. I see it, but to me, I do think that the Vanny Ending has... No, either way, I think that it takes place after Ruin, just because it's either after Ruin or during the events of Ruin, because HelpTrap, as I said, HelpTrap leads into Ruin. But it can't be before Ruin because Ruin has already happened, and Vanny Ending it has to be after HelpTrap because we're stuck in the room. So I definitely think the Vanny Ending, it can't be before Ruin, in my opinion. And to me, I don't think there's any time in Ruin where it's suggested that Helpy lost part of himself. I don't think any time it's suggested that HelpTrap was defeated partway through. I think it makes most sense that if it has to be after Ruin started, that it's also after when Ruin ended. I know, it's just my interpretation. I'm sorry that I lingered on this for a long time. It's just, I really wanted... This is the part where I feel like is the most different from most people's interpretations, so I felt the need to really linger on and explain a bit. But now onto the teaser ending, which is probably the part that most people wanted to know how I linked into all this. The teaser ending is kind of in two parts. There's the puzzle pieces that you can collect throughout the game. And I believe, just like the memory plushies and the Fuzz Force figurines, that Cassie's dad just found these while playing through the base game. And I actually think that he finds all the puzzle pieces first. And I think he figures out, I think the teaser ending comes first, and I'll explain why soon. I think it has to. Because, first off, HelpTrap is who gives you the Tiger Rock plushie, which to me means the Vanny Ending definitely hasn't happened yet. Because, I mean, HelpTrap is destroyed by the end of the Vanny Ending. Maybe Mimic 1 is still around, but it shouldn't be HelpTrap, it was after, if you know what I mean. So it's definitely before HelpTrap is destroyed because HelpTrap gives you the Tiger Rock plushie. And then the Mimic appears in the gallery. And this has a few implications. Some people think that this implies the Scooper ending is canon. I personally don't think so. I've already covered my thoughts on that in a previous video and I don't really want to linger on it too much. I still think the elevator is canon. The elevator ending is canon. But I think this is confirming that this costume is canon still. Despite the Scooper ending not being canon, the costume still is. But if you think that implies the Scooper ending is canon, that's fine. I do also, just while I'm here, want to point out that the Scooper ending doesn't kill the Mimic, because the Scoopers don't do that. But again, I don't want to linger on that too much. That was something I already covered in a previous video. Next, the really important part of this ending is after you hit the Mimic. You get the Mimic in the gallery, you put him on stage, you hit him. And then you can exit the pizza place and get the Secret of the Mimic teaser. I think that this teaser ending, this whole section, is all about the Mimic sharing more of itself with you. Just like how it shared the Afton memories with you as HelpTrap, I think this is it sharing the not Afton memories with you. The memories from Jackie, the toy factory. All that I think is relevant to the Mimic and its past, so this is just the Mimic sharing its memories just like it did before. I think that's the simplest explanation of what this teaser ending is, and if you want to wonder why I think it's before HelpTrap, it's because in the HelpTrap ending we got locked in the room, so we wouldn't be able to find the puzzle pieces and see this area if it was between HelpTrap and Vanny because we were locked in the room during that period of time. So that's why I think the teaser ending actually comes first. And all it is information on the Mimic. It tells us about the toy factory, which is a teaser for Secret of the Mimic. I think that's the location Secret of the Mimic will take place in. The factory as well, I think they're both locations Secret of the Mimic will take place in. I've focused a lot on this in a previous video. The van is interesting. There's kind of two interpretations of the van, and I did cover this in a previous video as well, but I'm going to touch on it again because I have kind of an updated thought on this. Now, the van ending, the actual part will be power on the van. I don't think that this is modern day anymore. I think I previously said that this may have been modern day from the Pizzaplex to somewhere else. I don't think so anymore, because if this is about the Mimic's memories, then I don't know why the Mimic would know about what's going to happen in the future, if you know what I mean. I feel like this has to be, to make sense, this has to be in the past, just like the rest of the section. So I think this is saying that the factory, Mexus was transported from the factory to the Pizzaplex, which to me implies that this ending was trying to tell us that Mexus may have been made at this factory, and that Secret of the Mimic will be about the creation of Mexus. Something that I already proposed in a previous video, but something that I'm even more confident in now. I also want to bring up, of course, the number codes. The 4625 could, and the 127 could imply April 6th, 2025 and January 27th. Those could be meaningful, maybe they're not. I'll wait and see. January 27th isn't too far away. But overall, in terms of lore, I do just think that's it. This is just the Mimic sharing his memories with Cassie's father before Cassie's father puts all the Faz Force figurines together, gets defeated, gets locked in the room, and then Ruin happens, and then eventually we defeat HelpTrap. That makes sense? I hope so. Let me know what your interpretations of these endings are, if you agree with me, if you don't, if there's any flaws in this idea. I just kind of wanted to share what my thoughts were, and hopefully I didn't linger too long on any of these. I do actually want to add one more thing, which is Jackie. Now, previously, I thought Jackie was just a random character who wasn't too important. I thought, oh, this teaser showed off Jackie because Jackie was who appears in the demo. That's all it is. Jackie was who happened to be the first character went up against, the character who appeared in the demo, so that's why she was one that was teased. No more significance than that. But if you look at this on a lore perspective, there's so much Jackie imagery now. Like, if this is about the Mimic sharing all its memories with Cassie's father and its origins or an important part of its history, why is so much of it Jackie? And also interesting that Jackie seems to already have more importance, having like the puppet's music box and potentially being a paper pal. So now that we add all that on top of the fact that the Mimic is sharing its memories of Jackie with the box, the voice line, the model, to me it seems to start implying that Jackie actually might be way more important than I gave her credit for, which is another big lore reveal of this ending. Aside from just being a teaser of, hey, this will be the origins of Nexus, and oh, Tigrock will probably appear in the next game, and oh, the Toy Factory will be the location. It's also saying that there's some big importance around Jackie, and that I also think is really important. Overall, I think the endings of Help Wanted 2, all three of them, have a lot of lore significance, and are all very interesting. And once again, I think the timeline of Help Wanted 2's endings is definitely the teaser ending, and then HelpTrap Ending, then Ruined, then Vanny Ending. Got to record an outro, so bye bye.